Hi, and welcome to this 4NAV coffee break. My name is René Brummel. I'm a product specialist at 4NAV, and I'm going to be your presenter today. With me today is Jacob Rasmussen to answer any question you might have about the 4NAV direct print and file service. As this coffee break is live, you can ask your questions via the GoToWebinar question window. We will answer them at the end of the coffee break. Today we're going to run PowerShell scripts on your local PC from Business Central. The direct print solution established a link between Business Central and the local device, which in this case was always a printer. Soon people started asking about access to local files, and a file service was built to serve that purpose. In addition to printers and files, we needed to communicate with other types of devices. These devices are often so special that we need a more generic way to access them. This is why the PowerShell handlers were introduced. PowerShell scripts can start programs, work on files, use Microsoft.NET assemblies, communicate via FTP, call APIs, and many other cool things. To demonstrate how to run PowerShell scripts from Business Central, I'm going to use these steps. The prerequisites, what do I need to get going? In step 2, I will set up the handlers. In step 3, I will set up the handler printers. In step 4, I will run the scripts. Let's start with the first step. Today, I will be running scripts in a Business Central Cloud tenant with the Business Central 2023 Wave 2 release. I've installed the 4NAV customizable report pack, and I've executed the step-by-step wizard from the assisted setup to get started. I've installed and set up the 4NAV direct print and 4NAV direct print and file service. You can find details on the use of these in our 4NAV direct print series of coffee breaks. To run PowerShell scripts from Business Central, you need at least version 7.3.0.8 of the 4NAV customizable report pack. And of course, everything I do today will also work in an on-premise environment. The first thing we need to do is to set up a handler. Handlers are scripts that receive any data from Business Central, do some work, and return any data as a result. This flexibility opens a variety of use case scenarios. PowerShell scripts can do virtually anything on a computer, but of course they are limited by the permission context that they run under. Handlers can return any data to Business Central after processing the package. You can create a one-way handler that receives a package, runs it, and terminates. And alternatively, you can make a two-way handler that returns a response to Business Central. To run a two-way handler, you need to use the print queue from the 4NAV direct print and file service. The 4NAV direct print client can only handle one-way scripts. So let's go and set up our handlers. The handlers, the handler scripts can only ever be stored in one place on your local machine, and that is inside the C program files reports 4NAV location. And the reason we've done this is for security, because of course, as you can see when I paste my handlers in here, you need admin permission to place scripts there, which makes everything a little bit safer. You can't just put a malicious script in here. You actually need to know what you're doing, and you need to have permission to actually do this. So I will continue, and you will find that I have two handlers here. I have a notepad handler and I have an uppercase handler, and I will use both of these. And when I open these folders, you will find I have a PowerShell script in there that is called handler. If I open this PowerShell script, let's open it with VS Code. You'll find in here that I've got a notepad handler, and you will see that I'm going to get some arguments, which is the input file, which is the data that I'm sending from Business Central. We'll get back to that later on. And that with that data, with that input file, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to set the content in that file with the package, with the data that I've sent from Business Central. Finally, I'm going to start a process on my local machine, which is going to be to start the notepad.exe with the temp file. So I will basically open a notepad with the file that I've just created. The second handler, the uppercase handler, also contains a handler.ps1. Open this with VS Code as well. you'll find that this handler will convert a string to uppercase, and it will actually return that string to my Business Central. So I'm going to get an input file and an output file. And from that input file, I'm going to get content, and I'm going to set that content to uppercase and send it converted to JSON as an output file. Now, once we've set up these handlers in PowerShell, we need to set up the handler printers. And the PowerShell handler printers are special direct printers. And those direct printers determine whether the handler jobs are sent to the browser client or stored in the queue so that the direct print and file service can handle them. So basically, they determine if they're going to be sent to a print service or if they are going to be run on the local machine of whoever is using Business Central. And of course, I'm going to use both. So let's open Business Central. I will open the ForNav direct printers. I'm going to create a new printer. And I will print two printers in this case. I will create a Notepad sample printer. And the local printer name is going to be the Notepad handler. And the local printer name needs to be the same as the folder of the handler on my local machine. So this is called Notepad handler, and that is called Notepad handler, and that Notepad handler folder has a handler PS1 inside it. So that's how you create a link from Business Central into your local scripts. That's the first one. I'm going to hide this. The hidden button means that it is hidden from the list of printers, so users cannot actually use this printer to print. It is only going to be there as a system printer to use these PowerShell scripts. Like I said, I will also create an uppercase sample printer. This is going to use the uppercase handler, and this is going to be run via the print queue, which means that it's going to be run from the ForNav direct print and file service, whilst this one is going to be run through the ForNav client print. And if you want to know the difference between the two, I heartily recommend you check out our ForNav direct print series of coffee breaks, because that will explain exactly the difference between the two and how to set up both of them. Anyways, I've set up both of these printers. Both are going to be hidden, which means that I can now use them. Which means I come to the final bit of this coffee break, running the actual scripts from Business Central. Now, to run these scripts from Business Central, you actually need to write some code. This is so running scripts from Business Central. These PowerShell scripts are so generic, they can do so many things that it is tricky for us to make anything standard inside our report pack, though we are working on some special use cases. But for now, I'm going to call my print scripts, manually through a simple extension. So the simple extension has the handler sample page, and in there I've got an action, the uppercase sample. And if I go through this, you will see that I create a JSON object with an input text and my sample text. Then I'm going to call the direct print queue and create a package. And in this package, I need some parameters. I need the document name. I need the direct printer name, the uppercase sample. That's the direct printer I just created. And I need my payload, which in this case is my document JSON or JSON object. So I'm going to send that to my direct print queue. Then I'm going to commit, because I'm going to need to wait until I get a response from my local machine. That might take a while. So then I'm going to wait for a response. If I get a response, then I will message that response as a message box. If not, I'm going to give an error, and if I get a timeout, then I get an error message that the request is timed out. So that is the create a job and wait for a response. And I can, like I said, I can only wait for the response if I run this job via the direct print and file service, which of course is in constant communication with the target machine. Then I have my notepad action, and a notepad action is a fairly simple fire and forget that we are going to use through the 4nav client print. This is going to create a big text with some data, which I'm going to send to my direct print, add that to a temp blob, write it into a package outstream, and finally I'm going to create a direct print queue again, and in here I'm going to send the document name, the direct printer name, the document in stream, and the document content type. This, of course, I've already published into Business Central. So I can open my handler sample, then I can run my uppercase sample, which is going to run, then I need to wait for the data to return. Which hopefully, if Murphy is willing, is going to actually work. The notepad handler, I know that does work. It gives me a message that I don't have a valid 4nav license, which is fine. And then it is going to create my my notepad text. I'm just going to have a quick look to see if I can figure out what's going on with my indirect print. I'm just going to stop and start quickly. There we go. Try that again, and now it worked. Now I get my sample text. And just so you know that this is actually running on my local machine, I can find my uppercase handler, which is stored on my local machine, and I can just add some simple text. Save it, and once again, I need to save this as an administrator because not everybody can just save stuff inside your program files. So save that, and let's run this again, uppercase sample. And now I get my sample text plus the text that I've just added in the script. So I'm happy that that actually worked. Now, of course, the direct print and file service. Let's find it. Has some more advanced debugging features. So what you can also do is if you want to see what actually happened from the direct print and file setup, you can find the package queue. Works pretty much like the printer queue. And the package queue actually tells me what I have sent to my local machine and what happened. And of course, the direct print and client and file service that runs on my local machine, which is right here, also has a bunch of log files where you can see exactly what you've printed and what has been going on. So that's going to help you with finding out what is going wrong if something is going wrong. Then let's recap what we just did. The first thing we did was to set up the PowerShell script handlers. We found that these are folders in the 4nav installation folder that hold the scripts that we call from Business Central. The scripts need to contain parameters for input and, where needed, output files. These files can contain data in any format. We have used JSON data, but any other format works just as well. After we created the handlers, we could create the handler printers. Handlers printers specify which direct print and file service will handle these jobs. By leaving the print queue option to false, we could specify that the job will be handled by the 4nav client print, and if we set it to true, the jobs will be handled by the 4nav direct print and file service. Finally, we were able to run scripts from our Business Central code. We could simply call the create package function in the 4nav direct print queue to start our scripts. Of course, you can find all of the demo code today that I used today in our GitHub repository. So please check that out. That contains the script handlers and all of the code to run the scripts. Thank you for listening to me so far. I can see we have no questions at the moment. If you do have a question, please type them in the question window because we can still answer them. And if you don't have any questions, I will just wrap up this coffee break. If you want to know more about 4nav, or if you want to download the 4nav Designer and Converter, please visit our website. If you want to install 4nav in Business Central Cloud, please visit the Microsoft App Source. You can watch more videos about 4nav on our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions about 4nav, please email them to support@4nav.com. Now I can see we have a question coming in. See if I can make this readable. Jacob, what is the timing of the queue functionality?
I'm not exactly sure what that means, how fast it will run. Okay, so that depends, of course, but the round trip delay is maybe, I would say, around 2 seconds. So, and on top of that, of course, it takes whatever time your script will take to run.
Thanks,
I hope
Jacob.
that answers the question. Yeah.
Okay, it looks like it does. With that, I can see we have no further questions. So finally, for a full list of upcoming and recorded coffee breaks, please visit 4nav.com/coffeebreak. Thank you very much for listening to me today, and goodbye.